Gonna do the tacos for dancing in the sun.
He's AC Slater from Saved by the Bell. I mean, that's the only title that's worth a damn. So,
that guy doesn't age, man.
He doesn't.
He's like 40 years
He's
old.
like Johnny Depp.
I mean, he's been working out since he was 17.
Okay. Can you see?
Yeah.
For the last several years, we have been hearing about a new drug called bath salts. A lot of people know it by Ivory Wave, Purple Wave, Vanilla Sky, or Bliss, among other names. But what exactly are bath salts? This question is really hard to answer, and it makes it even more hard to determine what the side effects are on people. To make things clear, however, bath salts are not regular bath salts that most women use in their bathtub to relax. Bath salts are categorized as cathinones that include an array of chemicals that can affect a person mentally, emotionally, and physically. According to narconon.org, it was just until recent times that you could purchase bath salts at convenience stores like it was no big deal. According to AAPCC.org, the common age of users is between 20 and 29, and it is commonly snorted, but it can be injected, mixed with food, or with your drinks. As previously mentioned, bath salts are categorized as cathinones, cathinones are a natural stimulant that is found in the cat plant. The cat plant can be found in the Middle East and Eastern African countries. It is presumed that the three common chemicals that can be found in bath salts are methadone, methylone, and MDPB. However, trying to figure out what bath salts actually consist of is very difficult because a small bag can consist of anything from 80 or more chemicals. Because of this, sometimes drug tests can't even determine that bath salts have been used. In July of 2012, according to Macmillan, the Synthetic Drug Abuse Prevention Act prohibited the possession, use, or distribution of many of the chemicals that are used to create bath salts, including methadone and MDPV. However, not all of the chemicals that are used to create bath salts were banned. Of course, because of the very different chemicals that are used, there are several different effects, including physical and emotional, and of course mental effects. As far as mental effects go, according to Vermont, you can, when you're on bath salts, you can be in a state of euphoria, become extremely paranoid, psychotic, alert, have hallucinations, and be delirious. As far as your emotional effects, a lot of people that are on bath salts tend to get really aggressive. For example, here you see Freddie Sharp pictured. He overdosed. He did not die, however. He had an overdose, and he felt like he was extremely evil and became extremely violent. Another side effect, an emotional side effect that you get, is that a lot of people tend to get suicidal thoughts. This is exactly what happened to Dickie Sanders, pictured right here with his father, Richard Sanders. He purchased a packet of Cloud9 synthetic bath salts from a local store, like it was no big deal. And at one point while on the drugs, he was in his kitchen, extremely paranoid that the cops were out to get him. He told his father that there was about 25 cops outside wanting to get him. His dad, of course, said, no, there's nobody out there. Dickie Sanders grabbed a kitchen knife and slashed his throat. Fortunately, however, he did not hurt any major arteries, and he was able to go to the hospital and get stitched up. After concluding that he was not suicidal, they sent him home, and his dad cared for him for that night. He laid in bed with him until he fell asleep, and in the morning when he woke up, Dickie Sanders wasn't there. He figured he had just wandered off, and when he went to go look for him, he found him in the room next door, laying on the floor, and he figured he was sleeping. As he approached him to put a blanket on him, he actually realized that Dickie Sanders was dead. He had become so paranoid that he killed himself because that was the only way to stop the paranoia. And then as far as your physical effects, you can get anything. You can be, of course, violent, have increased blood pressure, increased pulse, hyperthermia, chest pain, headaches, tense muscles, dilated pupils, liver failure, kidney failure, loss of bowel movement, and also death. The most common physical side effect that we hear is of people being extremely violent. One of the most popular cases is the Rudy UG Eugene and Ronald Poco case in Miami, Florida, where Rudy Eugene literally gnawed off a man's face for about 18 minutes. Pictured here, you can see Rudy Eugene, and this was his victim, a homeless man. This was during the attack. Like I said, it lasted for about 18 agonizing minutes. When the cops got there, they ordered him to stop. He did not, however, and at one point he stopped, looked back at one of the officers, growled at him, and turned back to his victim and continued eating his face off. This is Ronald, the victim. A year after, about 75% of his face was eaten off. As you can tell, his eyes are gone and most of his nose is gone. Another very common side effect that you hear about in the news is hyperthermia, where your body becomes extremely hot because your body can't dissipate the heat, and so people tend to take their shirts off or just get naked. And so that's where we hear and see a lot of the news videos of people being extremely violent and naked at random places. As far as long-term effects, Warren indicates that not a lot of long-term effects are known because this is a relatively new drug. Things are not known as far as what the drug can do if mixed with alcohol or other drugs. However, it can be presumed that bath salts are addictive simply because the bath salts limit the reuptake of dopamine, and your brain likes this. So once your dosage is done, your body craves more, which is why it can be presumed that, of course, it can be addicting. In conclusion, because there really aren't a lot of conclusions as to what bath salts can actually do in the long term, really you shouldn't take them. They mess with your brain. They make you extremely violent. It can cause death. It can cause suicidal thoughts. You can hurt yourself or other people simply from the suicide thoughts or from your actions.
Okay.